Ever wondered if your iOS device is as invincible as some claim it to be? Let's dive into some common myths about Apple's iOS. In our interconnected world, where tech is as much a part of our lives as the air we breathe, it's no surprise that myths and misconceptions about our digital devices abound. And when it comes to Apple's iOS, the operating system that powers millions of iPhones and iPads worldwide, the folklore is perhaps more abundant than anywhere else. These myths, some of which have been around since the introduction of the iOS operating system in 2007, range from the belief that iOS is utterly invincible to viruses, to the notion that iOS devices never crash. There are even those who insist that every single app on the App Store is completely safe. But like any good myth, while there may be a kernel of truth at their core, these beliefs often distort reality or oversimplify complex issues. And while they can sometimes provide a comforting sense of certainty in an ever-changing tech landscape, they can also lead to confusion, misplaced trust, and even potential risks. That's why we're here today, to debunk these myths and shed some light on the truth behind iOS. We'll take a closer look at each of these misconceptions, examining their origins, their impact, and most importantly, the reality behind them. We'll uncover whether iOS really is immune to viruses, and whether you can truly customize your iOS device to your heart's content. We'll investigate whether iOS devices never crash, and we'll explore whether all iOS apps are safe. So whether you're a longtime Apple devotee, a recent convert, or even a curious onlooker, we're here to provide the facts, dispel the myths, and ensure you have the information you need to make the most of your iOS experience. Stay tuned as we unpack these myths one by one. First up, the myth that iOS devices are completely immune to viruses. While it's true that iOS is designed with robust security measures and has a lower risk of virus infection compared to other systems, it's not entirely immune. Just like any other system, iOS has its vulnerabilities. There have been instances where these vulnerabilities have been exploited, leading to security breaches. Remember the infamous Xcode Ghost in 2015? It was a malware that infected numerous iOS apps, compromising the security of millions of devices. Or how about the Pegasus spyware that targeted iOS devices in 2016? These cases serve as reminders that no system is completely impervious to threats. Crucially, the safety of your device also depends on your online habits. So, it's clear that iOS devices are not completely immune to viruses, but they do have robust security features. Next on the list is the myth that iOS is not customizable. Now it's time to debunk this misconception. While it's true that iOS might not provide the same level of flexibility as some other operating systems, it's far from being a one-size-fits-all platform. For instance, did you know that you can change your app icons? Yes, you heard it right. You can personalize your home screen by reimagining how your apps look. And that's not all. With the introduction of iOS 14, you can now set default apps for certain tasks. This means you can choose your preferred email or browser app instead of sticking with the preset Apple ones. It's clear that there's a lot more to iOS customization than meets the eye. From adjusting app icons to setting default apps, you can tailor your iOS experience to suit your unique preferences. So, the truth is, iOS can be customized to fit your personal preferences. Now let's tackle the myth that iOS devices never crash. Yes, it's true that Apple's iOS is renowned for its stability and seamless performance. However, that doesn't mean it's entirely immune to crashes or freezes. So, why might an iOS device crash? One common reason is software bugs. Despite Apple's careful vetting process, some bugs can still slip through the cracks. These bugs can cause apps to behave erratically or even cause the entire system to freeze. Another reason could be hardware issues. For instance, a faulty memory chip or an overloaded processor can lead to crashes. Additionally, over time, as your device ages, its components can start to degrade, which can also lead to system instability or crashes. Even the most robust systems can have their off days. So, while iOS devices are generally stable, they can and do crash. Remember, no device is perfect, and occasional hiccups are a part of the tech world. Lastly, let's debunk the myth that all iOS apps are safe. Certainly, Apple has developed a reputation for security and safety, thanks in large part to its rigorous app review process. Every app that wants a spot on the App Store has to go through a stringent vetting procedure, with Apple's review team scrutinizing it for compliance with their guidelines. This process is designed to keep malicious or harmful apps at bay, and it does a pretty good job. However, it's important to remember that no system is foolproof. Despite Apple's best efforts, unsafe apps can and do sometimes slip through the cracks. So while the App Store is generally a safe place to download apps, it's not an impregnable fortress. Therefore, vigilance is key. Be cautious, be selective, and only download apps that come from trusted sources. So, while the App Store is generally safe, it's still important to be cautious and only download trusted apps. Now that we've debunked these common iOS myths, let's summarize what we've learned. There's a lot to unpack, and it's important to remember that while iOS is indeed a robust and secure system, it's not without its flaws. So let's dive in. Firstly, we tackled the myth that iOS is immune to viruses. While it's true that iOS has a strong defense against malware due to its closed ecosystem and stringent app vetting process, it's not completely invincible. Cyber threats are increasingly sophisticated, so it's crucial to be vigilant. Keep your device updated and avoid suspicious links or downloads. Next, we debunked the myth that iOS is not customizable. While iOS may not offer the same level of customization as some other operating systems, it does provide numerous ways to personalize your device to fit your style and needs, from changing app icons to setting unique wallpapers and ringtones. Then we addressed the myth that iOS devices never crash. While iOS devices are known for their stability, they are not immune to occasional glitches and crashes. Regular updates, clearing cache, and restarting your device can help maintain its performance. Lastly, we dispelled the myth that all iOS apps are safe. While Apple's App Store does have strict guidelines for app submission, not all apps are created equal. It's wise to check app ratings, reviews, and permissions before downloading to ensure you're not compromising your device's security. So, there you have it. We've journeyed through the labyrinth of iOS myths and emerged with a clearer understanding of this popular operating system. Remember, knowledge is power, and understanding the truths about iOS can help you make the most of your device. Subscribe to Tech Savvy Lab for more tech myth busting and insights. Until next time.